Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. We've got some entitled parent stories. Let's jump right into our first one of the day by estherlovesevie. Entitled Mother accuses me of stealing her daughter's phone, so I eject her from the property. My mom owns a farm and every year she has a community day where various people volunteer to entertain the local children. I have a face paint stall where for 3 hours I paint faces for free with my own materials. An hour into it, entitled mother enters the scene and asks me whether I've seen her daughter's phone. I say I saw a pinkish phone on the table, but that was a while ago and I don't know where it is now. Turns out that was her daughter's phone. So naturally, she then accuses me of stealing it. I told her she can check my bag as I haven't left this seat for ages. She searches my phoneless bag and then accuses a volunteer face painter of being in cahoots with me to steal the phone. It goes back and forth like this for a while, me denying, her accusing. She ends up being so belligerent that I tell her to leave the property. She screams at me, telling me that a 22-year-old cannot evict her. She says she wants to see the owner of the property. We find the owner and she freaks out when I say, "Hi mom, can you kick this woman out?" She left in haste, cursing me. I get being angry, but they very clearly said they did not take the phone, and then they went to the extreme of letting you search their bag for absolute transparency. And then of course, once it doesn't turn up, they start turning into conspiracy mode, looking for well, you and you must obviously be in cahoots to keep my daughter's pink phone. Because, I don't know, you want to sell it for money, why? Our next story is by baddobbyfischer. Entitled Mother demands I eat a cake that I was allergic to. So, a bit of background. When I was about 3 to 4, I had a very long list of food allergies. These include milk, wheat, eggs, and peanuts. So I was at a friend's birthday party, minding my own business, eating the food that my mom had packed for me. Everything at the party had at least one of my allergens. When the entitled parent and nice child walked up. At this point, I was eating a carrot cupcake that my mom had baked. Entitled Mother demands I give her child my cupcake, saying, "Stop eating your stupid stuff and eat the cake and pizza." Note, I had slight speech problems and I sounded small and unsure all the time. I stammer out, "This is my cupcake. I'm allergic to the cake." The entitled mother proceeds to yank my cupcake from my hands, throws it on the ground, and walks away. I sit there sulking for a bit, but then remember I still had some left. I resume eating my cupcake when entitled mother comes back with a slice of cake. She says, "Eat this and give the cupcake to my child." Now, this cake had peanut butter, which causes an anaphylactic reaction if I am too close to the cake. I push the cake away and scooch over. Now she attempts to grab my cupcake and in a stroke of pure genius, I did what any 4 years old would do. I spit all over my cupcake. I sat there solemnly as she walked away, enjoying the moment of my victory. So, if you were the parent of OP and you found out this happened to your child, would you very quickly get into a very heated discussion with entitled mother? Would you maybe even go as far as letting it get physical? Let me know yes or no in the comments down below. The next story is written by RafiFoo42, entitled Mother blames me for her son's mistake. A little context. I'm a 15-year-old French boy, and last year I entered a program called European English class, which means I have 2 more hours of English class per week and I get to do an exchange with an English-speaking family to improve. You guessed it, my English. But I got a Dutch family which is pretty much the same. First of all, sorry for my poor English, I'm still learning. My host family was composed of a divorced woman and her only child. They were relatively nice to me at first, but wouldn't really socialize with me or open up to me. I felt like I was a burden for the whole trip, but I didn't complain and just lived with it. The thing is, my pen friend, correspondent, I don't know the right word for it, was actually worse at English than me. All my other classmates had pen friends that were perfectly speaking English, but mine was struggling and it really made connecting with them even harder. One day, I convinced my correspondent to go meet with his friend, who is also my best friend's pen friend. We spent the afternoon together and it was fun and all, but after a couple of hours, my pen friend tells me that we really have to go home by now. I didn't know why. I supposed his mom didn't like him staying out for a long time. But as we were about to leave, the dumb bud realizes that he lost his god-darn bike keys. So we searched for them for half an hour and eventually found them. We biked home as fast as we could, and my correspondent was literally crossing the road at every single red light. We finally arrive. Cast: entitled mother is entitled pen friend's mom, PF is pen friend, not entitled, just dumb and boring AF, and me, the one and only. I say hi. Entitled mother says, "What were you doing? Where have you been?" She was red, like she was about to explode. I was really not getting a good vibe from her. We were at Felix's, not his real name, friend's place. "What? Is there a problem?" "My son has a theater class, and because of you, he's going to miss it." I really didn't expect her to scream like that. I didn't even know about that. He didn't tell me about it, but he can go there now and attend the end of the class. "No, he can't. He has way too much homework. You better help him with it." Obviously, I speak Dutch. I can do history in Dutch, duh. "This was so important to him. This is all your fault. You took him there. You're a bad influence on him." First of all, we arrived late because your son lost his keys. Second of all, if this was so important, he would have told me about it. "I don't care. I'm going to report you to your teacher for ruining our day." What, really? Your son is responsible for all this mess, not me. You're the one responsible. So I'm the one who is supposed to remind your son he has theater and homework and he's not a baby anymore, isn't he? "No, he's much more mature than you. I'm sure you forced him to go there." How can you believe that? How can I force him to go visit his friend? That doesn't make any sense. "Stop lying." She then proceeded to hug her son and comfort him, which really triggered me. You know what? I am freaking done here. I just can't handle so much bull. I went upstairs and started packing my things while entitled mother was screaming and cursing at me with the worst insult I ever heard. I then left the house to entitled mother's delight. Her little angel was freed from my demonic grasp. I had never been in such a situation. Alone in the street in a foreign country. I thought I could be evicted from my school for leaving my host family. I was really stressed out, almost crying. I eventually got a hold of myself and called my best friend. I spent the last day of my trip with my friend's host family. The teacher received a call from entitled mother. I was asked to tell my version of the story. I was then told I could be in trouble for this. 2 weeks later, I was asked to see the principal. He told me that my school ceased all partnership with that Dutch school. Apparently, I was far from being the only one to have problems with my host family. A friend of mine was even bullied by his correspondent. I didn't get punished at all. Thank God. But the whole thing kinda ruined foreign exchanges for me. This genuinely sucks because it sounds like a really awesome opportunity that's supposed to be some kind of lasting experience, something that you look back on fondly. Being able to go to a foreign country and spend time with this host family and just learn things, experience new things, that was supposed to be what it's all about, not getting in angry fights and being petty and just having the whole thing ruined for you. Our next story is by Coyote Jones, The Case of the Too Hot Chocolate. It was near closing time when a regular came through with their usual order, 2 kids' hot chocolates. The espresso machine has a button for kids temp, which automatically shuts off the steamer at a slightly lower temperature. Regular temp is like 160, 140 for kids. I think this was years ago. There's a couple of facts to the case that need to be mentioned. 1, these folks normally came through during rush, so their drinks would usually be sitting on the cashier counter for a few minutes before being handed through the window. 2, our second and third espresso machines were already taken down for cleaning that night. So when they pull up, they get their hot cocoa immediately off the bar. No wait time. I could tell that the couple were in a bad mood, but I didn't really think about it. Well, the crew and I hear literal tires screeching and see the vehicle pull through the drive-thru straight to the window. The husband knocked on the window, but I was already on my way from the back to go see what's up. The mom yells, "These hot chocolates are way too hot. If I gave these to my kids, they'd burn their mouths." So I offer a few fixes. Milk, an ice cube or 2, extra whipped cream, no go. Mom wants them remade. "Add kids temp this time." I left the original drinks in view of the window. As a seasoned food service worker, I know what happens if those leave view. So we remade them, added a splash of cold milk, and handed them over. Mom screamed, "Those are the same ones." I pointed out the ones on the counter which had stickers. Since this didn't go through the register, no stickers. They take the drinks and Mom comments, "How hard is it to F up a chocolate?" Then we see them pull into a parking spot. I sent the 2 baristas to the back and had my shift supervisor in training up front because I knew this was going to be bad. The people hanging out in the cafe area heard the entire thing and were all watching the door as well. The mom comes in yelling about how she's so glad she tested the drinks the first time because her kids would have seriously been harmed. I gave her 2 free drink cards. She said we owed her more than some free drinks. She wanted an apology. I didn't see it, but she accused my coworker of rolling his eyes. Then she goes on to scream, "I own my own business and I'd never treat people with this level of disrespect." The hot cocos fly at us, we dodge. At this point, I pointed to the door and just said, "Out, now, or we call the police. Do not come back to the store. We have your license plate on camera. This whole thing is on camera." She left immediately. They came back one other time during the day. I marked out their drinks so they got them free, and I reiterated, "Do not ever come back here." They never did after that, thank Christ. The third case I'll put here because we had no way of knowing beforehand. 3. The machine was overheating and not shutting off at 140. I checked after close and it was going to 160, but we had no way of knowing at the time of the incident, and if I had known, I would have just asked the barista to do it manually. But so much was made of the kid's temp thing, I ensured that she pressed the button. The end. So technically, the entitled mother was right. It was too hot for their kids. But it was a mechanical error and it was not something that the workers maliciously did. So I can absolutely understand the parent being upset because yes, it was too hot for their kids. I think she has a right to argue. I think she has a right to ask for new ones, free drink coupons, whatever. That said, you can't fling hot cocos at people. There's definitely some kind of cutoff that goes into how much leeway you get in a situation like that. Our next story is also by Coyote Jones, entitled Mom at Starbucks. Years ago in college, I worked at a Starbucks near a high school and middle school. We always had an after-school rush with tons of kids getting frappuccinos. If you've ever worked at Starbucks, you probably don't know how the drinks are made, so I'll inform you on the magic of the caramel frappuccino. It's basically ice, sugar, milk, sugar, coffee, base whipped cream, sugar. The coffee base comes to the store as a powder, and they mix it with warm water at the store. We don't brew it there. So I get this maybe 12 to 13-year-old girl ordering a caramel frappuccino. No extra requests, just the standard drink. I made it so I know it was made correctly. I was a trainer and shift supervisor and had a fancy black apron. She brings the caramel frappuccino back, complaining that the coffee tastes burnt. I actually laughed. It's basically just coffee flavoring. And if you've ever had one, they don't taste like coffee at all. So I kindly explained that, well, the coffee in the drink isn't brewed, and it all comes from the same place. So yeah, of course, I'll remake it, but it will definitely have the same flavor. I offered to do extra caramel flavor and topping to make it even sweeter. She agreed. I remade the thing, asked her to try it to make sure it was better this time. I even tried a sample of that pitcher in a tiny cup to make sure nothing was off about it. Like maybe there wasn't enough water in the mix. It was fine. So I called the girl up to the counter again, gave her the second frappuccino, told her to keep the first one. Oh my god. So like an hour later, Mom comes in with the kid. She was demanding I give them their money back. She was all mad because I was rude to laugh. I tried to explain that, sorry, it's just really funny. And I wanted to explain how the drink was made so the kid could order it the way she likes it next time. I also explained that we don't give cash back. I gave her a brand new drink she was happy with and offered a free drink card for next time. No go. I'm calling corporate to report your rude behavior. Blah, blah, blah. I gave her the phone number and said, be my guest, all with a smile. OP in this case really did all they could. It literally was not an issue with the technique, it was just how the drink tastes. And I would say the customer service that OP offered was honestly more than compensating for the issues that were presented. And our final story of the day is by Traditional Editor 4, Woman Sues Inflatable Company for Breaking Her Own Daughter's Leg. So I was working one day at an event that hired an inflatable slide and other inflatables. I was at the top of the slide telling people, go ahead when the slide part was clear. Only one person was allowed to slide at a time to not hurt others or selves on the landing. Trust me, it happens. There was another person at the bottom telling people if they can go up or not because of the one-person rule. So it was normal of watching kids go down the slide when this girl comes up. She was scared to go down the slide and I was there coaching her through this, telling her stuff like, you got this and it's not that bad. I guess at some point she got even more scared and started crying. Her mother heard and was coming over to comfort her daughter. The mother was about to head up when the lady from before said only one person at a time. When the mother heard that, she said, my daughter is up there and she is crying. So the lady sent her up and she came to me. Great. Just great. So I let her see the girl and comfort her and it was going fine enough. Then she thought it would be a good idea to slide down the slide with her daughter. Oh, and did I forget to mention the fact that she was sort of heavy? Yeah, so she gets ready to go down the slide and before she goes down the slide, she puts the girl in her lap. In her lap. I didn't have enough time to stop her before she went down and when she landed on her daughter, crunch, she had broken her own daughter's leg. To save time, I will say the girl was rushed to the hospital and got her leg in a cast. Or I hope so. After that, we thought that everything was gonna be fine. I was wrong. The lady decides to sue the company for her daughter being hurt on their slides. It seemed to be going somewhere until the lady at the bottom of the slide and I got interviewed and said that the mom went down the slide with the daughter in her lap and she broke her daughter's leg. After that was said, I haven't heard much about it. So I would imagine this kind of a situation, you might not hear about it after a while because that kind of stuff just takes forever to deal with in court, I think. Either that or they realized that there is no ground and it got shut down pretty quickly. Either way, definitely not the brightest move from the mother. But it was also kind of a freak situation where they didn't have time to really get the ramifications of sliding down together explained to them. She kind of just put her on her lap and just went. And here we are. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you enjoyed the stories today, please consider giving the video a like. And if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. And if you had a favorite story of the day, let me know which one and why in the comments down below. But no matter what you did, whether it was liking, commenting, subscribing, whatever you did, thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, I'll be back tomorrow with more Reddit stories right here on the Storytime channel.